Hi, my name is Jim Reinheimer. I'm an educational consultant at Blast Intermediate Unit 17. Thank you for joining me. I am going to share my screen with you at this time. And today's topic is increasing positive socialization for students with autism. So again, welcome to the Online Learning Hub, my little emoji, Bitmoji picture that I like to share whenever I am presenting a topic. Today's essential question: what are some positive strategies and tools to help students with autism in conversations, as well as some socialization with peers and adults? So what I will be going over with you today, some strategies, many of which you may be using, and some additional positive strategies that may be helpful. So to begin, just to look at two quotes that I like that are very helpful, that puts it into perspective. When you think about autism for a child or for a student, for any individual, see my abilities, not my disabilities. Believe in me and teach me. With your guidance and support, I can reach for the stars. It could be for a student with autism. It could be for any one of us. You know what? We always have so much to grow and to reach for those stars. So I love that quote. And the other quote I wanted to share with you is, some people with autism may not be able to speak or answer to their name, but they can still hear your words and feel your kindness. So hear those words, feel your kindness, means so much. So what is autism? Autism is that prevalent developmental disorder that affects the way a person perceives and communicates with the world. So a lot of times what happens is it does result in some challenges with social interactions and information processing. It goes in areas of maybe some struggles, let's say, with communication as well as socialization, or also behavior, or it could be two of them, it could be all of them. Just some statistics to go over with you again. The rate for autism spectrum disorder in the population is 1 in 54. An average of 1 in 34 boys, 1 in 144 girls. So in the last 2 years, it has increased about 10%. Before that, it was 1 in 59. Boys are 4 times more likely to be identified with autism than girls. So that's why you start seeing a lot more, like, why are there more boys, more men that are diagnosed? About 1 in 6, or 17% of the children that are between the ages of 3 and 17 were diagnosed with a developmental disability during a period of study from 2009 to 2017. So these have included autism, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, blindness, cerebral palsy, among others. So just taking a look at the chart here, if you notice from 2004 to 2020, so like we see a lot more that are being identified now with any form of autism on the spectrum disorder. So like I said, there may be some behavior struggles, some maybe some more of the communication, and for some it may be with social interaction. It could also be, like I said, it could be a mix of the three together. So like I said, there are strategies, and like I always say, everything is like through modeling I've learned. So like I said, just to go over some of the struggles that we see with social interaction. Some students with autism, they have difficulty with imaginary or creative play. So it's trying to think, let's say, outside the box a little bit. So it has to be maybe the same thing that they like to do. They may have a lack of or limited eye contact, so they may not directly look at you. And if they don't, you know what? It doesn't mean that they're not hearing you or that they're going to follow through or processing what you're saying, okay? They may have limited ability to cope and manage anxiety and emotions. So they may also have limited understanding of the danger, or thinking about safety, thinking about as far as like what is safe, what is unsafe. We think about surfaces, we think about environments. They may have trouble understanding and interpreting thoughts, perspective, and emotions of others, maybe how others are feeling under the theory of the mind. They may have difficulty understanding social appropriateness. So like is appropriate, what is inappropriate. Okay, so we also they may make inappropriate statements. Not that they're purposely doing it, it's just coming out and they're not really knowing far as what is appropriate versus what is inappropriate. So, or also starting to think about they may exhibit socially unacceptable behaviors. So like one of the strategies I know that I've been working with, what is expected and what is unexpected. And at the same time, what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. They may have maybe understanding the social rules. So like, for example, waiting in line. The purpose of waiting 6 feet with the coronavirus at this time. So the personal space as well. They may have inability to understand, interpret, use any of the following: verbal communication. Facial expressions. Sometimes facial expressions, they're like, really, like, what's going on? So nonverbal communication, gestures. Some of them may have some difficulty in one or all of these areas. They may have difficulty sharing emotions, understanding how others think, feel, and hold a conversation. A lot of times I've learned is the emojis. Emojis can have a significant effect. Teaching them what a smile on the emoji looks like versus maybe an angry or frustrated one. So, like I said, eye contact may not be as frequent or maybe last as long as other children. They may not appear to notice others and seem to tune people out. So sometimes we kind of do that pretty easily. Maybe we lose the attention. A lot of times they do not build relationships with others, or it may take a longer period of time, such as showing something, pointing out interests or accomplishments. So like I said, maybe it's like some of these areas, it's like we have to teach them these skills. They do not some of them may not demonstrate social and emotional reciprocity, meaning taking turns. So like they may not understand, okay, it's my turn, it is your turn. It is my turn, it is your turn. Or who goes first, who goes last, who wins, who does not win the game. They rarely initiate actions of others in play or other tasks or directions. Many times, like they will wait, like they are not going to be the first ones to volunteer. They may not respond to their own name for some students. They may seem lonely, difficulty in making and maintaining friendships. So it's like a lot of times we start to find like which students maybe they would have maybe a common interest with. They do not consistently smile when smiled at. So they may not smile at you. It doesn't mean that they're not happy. It's just maybe sometimes it's just that I do, you do. They may struggle with that. They may also have difficulty with imaginary and pretend play, as I went over before. So some may be overly active, some may be uncooperative, or maybe resistant. Maybe they're scared. They're not quite sure how things are going to go. You know, like maybe they like to be right. They're afraid of being wrong. They do not know how to play with toys the way they were intended. So like, let's say playing with a car, like knowing that you can like on wheels. Some maybe like to build something, like they may not just understand the complete concept. They may not be interested in other children. I know some students with autism, they seem to form a bond and pair more with adults first than they would with their own peers, or maybe they would only pair with maybe another same-sex peer, or maybe the opposite sex peer. So some strategies, I mean, for us, do not take their rude or aggressive behavior personally. It's just like a lot of times they may just be learning what is appropriate, what is inappropriate, what can we do support. Recognize the target for anger may not be linked to the source of that anger. It may be related to something else. Okay, like I always say, like most of the time it's not you, it may be something else. So it's like, what can we do to support? The aware student may feel very uncomfortable with eye contact. So if they know you're looking at them, they may feel very resistant, and you may see some struggles in behavior as well, or maybe noncompliance or shutting down. Maybe an increase in anxiety as well. Work to expand students' reinforce and leisure activities. Help them to grow their own interests. Continue to increase social reinforcers and activities. Find areas that they maybe like, and it also would help maybe with the socialization piece with peers and with adults. Pair existing reinforcers with new activities, something that they're familiar with something new may be very helpful. Frequently teach those social rules and skills, model them. Show them the turn taking, social distance, model it for them. The more we model, and a lot of times saying it, they may hear it, they may not or understand it. So a lot of times they always need that visual, okay, so that prompt. You can break down the social rules into nonverbal and verbal components. Breaking it down one by one can be very helpful. Explain the rules and purpose behind social exchanges. So like a lot of times, like I said, just modeling it. Teach student to accurately label his or her own emotions. So very, very helpful. You can use different visuals, let's say cartoon conversations, coping comics, stories to teach social responses. There's so many strategies you can find online or that you can create yourself. Be aware of teasing by peers. Teach and rehearse appropriate responses to bullying. So if this were to happen, how would we respond? What would you say? What consequence? What would happen? What would you do in a proactive way? Provide modeling role play opportunities to teach those social skills. And I always say too, not just in the classroom, throughout many environments. Maybe learn how to help them to generalize of social skills across all areas and contexts. So build the social interactions around the common interest. Okay, by finding a common interest that a peer may have with another peer, at least that's one area of topic they can talk about, and maybe it can continue to increase and grow from there. Build that rapport and friendship. So, like I said, those social situations and making friends can be challenging with students with autism. So prepare them ahead of time. Maybe preparing. We're going to work on this today. It's okay. We're going to teach them strategies. We're going to work with you. A lot of times, it may help the process a little bit better and start it off slow. Okay, maybe for a couple of minutes. See how much they're able to. How much they're able to handle at this moment. And you start to see maybe they're starting to struggle. We want to always end it on a positive note, okay? So like some strategies can include behavior story or comic strip conversation, uh, help them practice set expectations for positive behaviors. We can use video models to learn and practice skills you observe in examples. Use these skills in the classroom. You can create different activities, and you can also partner them up with other students to help practice these skills for positive socialization. So we also want to teach that social skills are important with age. So what's acceptable from a 4-year-old will not be acceptable at a 14. Okay, so we need to start working on some of those areas. What can we do to help support so it'll make it more appropriate for the age level? Okay. So social skill areas can talk about anywhere in taking turns, not interrupting conversations. A lot of times that happens. Maybe not telling too much or saying appropriate. We want to work on conversational skills as well as making and keeping friends. How can we begin to build that friendship? And by doing that too, what's going to be important as well is teaching our students with autism to listen. Listening is very, very important, and how to respond, taking turns, learning how to cooperate with others, and learning how to sometimes maybe we just need to compromise, maybe meet each other halfway, and maybe just to change the topic of the conversation, okay, and to remember to continue to be fair. So some of these, here's some additional strategies that may help to help build positive social skills, the social stories. We see them, they could be online. You can create your own, model them, using as a teaching positive experience. You can use them as far as the example, or maybe someone else, pictures, the words, however they would learn best. Comic strip conversations is another one. As I said before, it may help. This may be one that they may like, depending on the interest of the student you're working with. Video modeling, sometimes they have to kind of see it and like watch it first, okay, and how to respond to that situation. They can do maybe a role play, different scripting. Okay, so like all of these may be very, very helpful. So think about, you could also use a mentor, maybe like having maybe another student, someone who would be a great role model to practice. And it helps them to get to know each other, helps to be accepted, and also help build those friendships. So just to continue, positive socialization stories. Like I said, some may be a little bit more difficult, confusing for the student. Break it down, make it a positive experience. Story highlights those social cues, events, reactions can occur in a situation. Actions and reactions might be affected. So like I said, we want to help to increase their understanding so that just doesn't become remote. So what happens has a consequence and why this is happening. And it helps to build for the next example for the real life situations. Okay. So think about sometimes some conversations, some conversation skills we may look at. So taking a look as far as helping to build conversation skills. We may need to maybe just have a prompt card, something that would be, we can pick a topic, we can let them pick a topic, maybe find an interest that they like to talk about, and maybe keep the conversation very, very brief in the beginning. Just, we want to help build it up so that help make it positive, and also help it so that it would be appropriate, and help them so that they're going to have an interest and help build their confidence. So some examples of some steps that can, here's an example. So like when to start a conversation. If the person you want to talk to is talking to someone else, especially if it's someone you do not know, wait until they're finished. This way you might have more time to talk. So a lot of times it's like teaching our students with autism, like just to wait until that conversation ends. So that we can work and work with them on that strategy. Next, where to stand when you want to talk. Okay, go up to the person when you want to talk, but stop when you're about an arm's length away, face the person. At this time, we want to keep at least 6 feet apart, maybe further away, and also try to look in their direction. Maybe not exactly give exact eye contact, but at least in that direction where they can see that we're trying. What to say to start the conversation, like some examples. Oh, hi, excuse me. You can use their name if you know who they are. Start off with something general rather than starting on the particular topic. Like, how are you? It's nice to see you. Hi, how's it going? What's up? How to talk in the conversation. Just remember about taking turns, not to always be the one to be the one who's speaking and not allowing the other person to talk. Okay. So let the person answer your questions. Give the person a chance to ask a question in return. Check whether the other person is interested or starting to look bored. If you're starting to see that they're really not paying attention, maybe a time to start wrapping up the conversation or allow them to speak, okay, or change the topic. All right, so like I said, we want to definitely keep the topics positive. Try to keep it in the area of what they like. This way that it's not going to have a negative. Also, think about how other person might be affected by what you say. Will it make them feel uncomfortable or hurt their feelings? Sometimes it's okay not to tell the truth, saying what they want to hear even when it's not true. So if there's a problem in the conversation, if you make a mistake and upset someone, you could just simply say, you know what, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that came across the wrong way. Sometimes I'm still learning how to try to say the right words, and sometimes they don't come out right. So I apologize. Is there a better way I should rephrase that next time? You could just so that this way, a lot of times if they have an understanding. How to end the conversation, like I said, if you start noticing that, and especially to work with your students with autism to teach them that if the other person is not responding back to your questions, maybe they're starting to look around more, maybe they're starting to yawn, maybe they say that they have something else that they have to do or that they have to go. Maybe you could just end the conversation. Some ideas you might want to say would be example, I better be going now instead of just before saying bye and just walk away or just say bye and walk away. You may want to just try to be as polite as possible. So it's like, I have to go now. I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye. Or it was nice talking to you. You know, see you soon. Something like that. You could try to think of something that would be positive. So at this time, at the very end here, I want to do is just a share with you in the Autism Speaks, they have a school community toolkit. And in here, they have a lot of wonderful strategies. Just even going to autismspeaks.org. What you could do is you could download some materials, some additional strategies. And when you download, they may ask you some questions, maybe ask your name, your email address. It is free, by the way. So. Some additional resources, as I said, Autism Speaks has a lot of valuable, great information that's always updated. The Center for Disease Control, Kids Health Search Autism, there's a lot of important information. You can continue to search around as well. But like I said, just working with students to help build positive interaction. A lot of times, like I said, I always just keep saying modeling, model how what we do, our students pick up on, and they will respond in several instances the same way. So it's like we, a lot of times we realize we think we're not doing a lot, but we really are. So like watch what you say and do, because little eyes are always watching you. It's a quote I love to say. So like when I say that, I'm always trying to be positive and kind, try to have those conversations and try to help build it. So help keep their interest, as well as what we can do to support that student, and as well as support all students so that they can also, it's just a team effort with each other to support our students that are diagnosed with autism. So again, I really want to thank you for taking the opportunity to learn a few strategies. If there's anything else that you feel is helpful and you would like to reach out to me, or any additional questions, here is my contact information, jreinheimer at iu17.org, my office phone number here. And again, just thank you so much for watching today's webinar on the Online Learning Hub. Have a wonderful day, and hope to catch up with all of you very soon. Take care.